Welcome to the Daily Detoxx podcast. I'm your man, Deon J. And today I have back again, good brother Leroy Thorpe. Welcome back.
Thank you, Noop. Thank you for having me back, and also allowing my daughter, Fatima, to sit in on this podcast. Happy to be back here.
Good, man. It's over, man. The election's over. I mean, Trump, he lost, but he doesn't believe he lost. I mean, he wants to recount, and he's got some lawsuits out there. I mean, what's your thoughts, man?
It's a waste of time. The election been over. People that own businesses in this country, particularly the majority of baby boomers in small businesses, about 50% of those businesses went under with the COVID-19 pandemic. Trump did himself in. He was slow to basically come up with some type of health initiative regarding wearing masks or whatever to respond to the public pandemic. Also, the situation of the stimulus checks. People need money. People are unemployed. This country's in dire financial shape. So he basically did himself in with the lack of governing and basically helping people out. That's how I see it.
So do you feel like your interests will be withheld?
My interest was basically fulfilled when he appointed that Supreme Court justice. As I indicated before, I'm a conservative. That was it for me. I really didn't care whether he won or not. Trump or Biden winning does not do anything for people of color. I mean, the democratic process is not democratic. Black people for centuries have been waiting for promises that has been unfulfilled, going back to post slavery, when the government promised 40 acres and a mule to African Americans. African Americans have to wake up, man. This whole political process does not work for them. It benefits white people. White people control the process, and although they may pick a person of color, they're into that system, that whole racist system that benefits white people in this country. So those black people getting all excited because they have a vice president that's a so-called person of color, and they're going to do something. You're fooling yourself. Look at Barack Obama, who now in 60 Minutes speaking out about his presidency and that type of thing. He didn't do it when he was in the White House.
There was also, though, and I write about this, a satisfaction in knowing that I had finished the job. I had run my stretch of the race. And I could say unequivocally, despite regrets and disappointments about some things not getting done, the country was better off when I left than when I got there.
So it tells you that the democratic process, the political process in America, does not work for people of color.
It was a good interview. But I feel like, Biden's just not going to deliver. I mean, I've seen people on the internet or on social media or YouTube saying, we got a list of all these things we want Biden to do. And it's like, okay, you should have made these demands before he was president, because now he's president. He doesn't have to do it.
So in just a couple of seconds, I'm going to be playing you some leaked audio of a Joe Biden and Kamala Harris closed-door meeting with black civil rights leaders, including folks like Al Sharpton. You were not meant to hear this audio, neither was I, neither was anyone in the public, which is why it's so important to hear Joe Biden mean what he actually says when he's not expecting to be recorded. And so I want to play you a few examples, and then we're going to come back and break it down a little bit.
This is a completely closed call, so just want to remind you of that. There's no recording.
I'm the first person, black or white, who called attention to the fact that you were finding that there was the rate of people who were African Americans who are dying was 3 times that of white people. I don't carry around a stamp on my head saying progressive and I'm AOC, but I have more of a record of getting things done in the United States Congress than anybody you know. Let's get something straight. You shouldn't be disappointed. What I've done so far is more than anybody else has done this far. Okay, number one. Number two, I mean what I say when I say it. There's some things that I'm going to be able to do by executive order. I'm not going to hesitate to do it. But what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to do what used to, Benita, you probably used to get angry with me during the debates when you'd have some of the people you were supporting say, on day one, I'm going to executive order to do this. Not within the constitutional authority. I am not going to violate the Constitution. There is a Constitution. It's our only hope. Our only hope. And the way to deal with it is where I have executive authority, I will use it to undo every single damn thing this guy has done by executive authority. But I'm not going to exercise executive authority where it's questioned, where I can come along and say, I can do away with assault weapons. There's no executive authority to do away with that. And no one's fought harder to get rid of assault weapons than me. Me. But you can't do it by executive order. You do that, next guy comes along and says, well, guess what? By executive order, I'm going to say everybody can own machine guns again. So we got to be careful. I know you all know this. I know you know it. I don't think we should make that a big issue going into before January 5th when the election takes place down in Georgia. But I also don't think we should get too far ahead of ourselves on dealing with police reform in that, because they've already labeled us as being defund the police. Anything we put forward in terms of the organizational structure to change policing, which I promise you will occur, promise you. Just think to yourself and give me advice whether we should do that before January 5th, because that's how they beat the living hell out of us across the country, saying that we're talking about defunding the police. We're not. We're talking about holding them accountable. I just raised it with you to think about. How much do we push between now and January 5th? We need those 2 seats about police reform.
And so this comes from leaked reporting by Ryan Grimm at The Intercept.
Right. Well, you're absolutely right. Let me just say that all these black people that are so excited and happy that this white man is in charge now. There's no difference between Trump and Biden, except you have a nicer version of Trump. I mean, yeah, exactly. A nicer version of Trump. He's going to call black people Negroes. Trump going to come out and call you nigger. It's the same game. It's the same situation. You're not going to benefit. The system is already set up to benefit white folks in this country with their policies and everything. I mean, even when they made the Constitution, black people were considered almost animals. So unless that whole thing breaks down, the United States Constitution be done over, including every human being as American citizen without any type of amendments to the Constitution being passed to make them have privileges like white folks. And this whole thing is just a game. And all these black people getting all excited, man, you're wasting your time. You have to wake up at some point and learn how to do for self and build your communities and support your communities economically and stop depending on a white man because he smiles at you or he's a nicer version of Trump is going to do something for you. They're not going to do nothing for you. You're fooling yourself.
So what about Harris, man? I mean, I know she's a vice president. She doesn't really have that much of, executive order in the White House.
Man, Harris did what she had to do with historic black universities.
Democratic vice presidential nominee Kamala Harris is a historic candidate, the first South Asian and first African American woman on a major party ticket. She credits her time in college with setting the stage for her future success. She attended Howard University in Washington, D.C. It's part of a national network of about 100 historically black colleges and universities, HBCUs. There, she was a member of the predominantly African American Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority.
Family is my beloved Alpha Kappa Alpha, our Divine Nine, and my HBCU brothers and sisters.
She got her degree from Howard University. She went out to a white law school in California, and she married herself a white man. She didn't do anything for black people when she was ascending to power. She won't do anything while she's in that position. You folks are just kidding yourself. Okay, you may have some bragging rights if you're an AKA saying, "Oh, we got somebody in that position."
Joining us now, three of Kamala Harris's closest friends, her Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority sisters. Welcome Jill Lewis. She's there in Dallas. Lori Sadler is in the ATL, and Monique Poydras is in Washington D.C. And you got a little backup there. I see, Monique.
Yeah.
Got some more swords that are
That's
there.
right. That's right.
Lori, let me begin with you. What was that moment like personally for you when your close friend walks out on that stage with Mary J. Blige playing? What was that moment for you?
Wow. It was absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And what made it even more special was to share that moment with my three daughters.
There's no hope. Nothing's gonna happen.
Well, they said that black women actually put Biden in office. I was like, I don't know if that's true or not, but they said that black women were the largest voter turnout that put Biden in office.
And on the other hand, let's hear for black women, only a very, very marginal increase from 4% to 8%.
Yeah, marginal increase. Black women have been the backbone of the Democratic Party for far too long, as far as I'm concerned. We don't necessarily receive the benefits of our work, sacrifice, and commitment, and that's really that's the conversation that has to happen going forward, because the districts that we're waiting to count right now in order to determine this presidency are basically districts where many black people live, and we know that black women are carrying the numbers.
We can thank black women for carrying Biden to this presidency if he wins.
We can thank black women for carrying everybody all the time. That's what black women do.
Love it. I love it.
Okay, let's assume that's correct. Let's assume that's correct. Watch 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 4 years from now, black people, black women, you're not getting anything. I mean, some of y'all might be inspired like Kamala and go out and get yourself a white boy to marry when there's plenty of black good men out here that you overlook, but you're so caught up into this so-called political system and the media indoctrination of this integrated commercials they show on TV now with a black man and a white man and a black woman, or a black man with a white woman. You guys thinking that everything is normal and racism is gone. You haven't seen nothing yet. I mean, the election itself showed you, basically, although Biden convincingly won, Trump was right in the running. So it tells you that those racist folks, the poor white racist folks in these so-called suburban and rural areas, still think that black people shouldn't have power. So if you think that Kamala being in the executive building, the executive house building, as the vice president is going to yield you some gains, you're fooling yourself.
Well, I saw an interview with Lisa Ray and a group of women, and they attacked Ice Cube when, his contract for Black of America. And they basically said that your contract does not include black women, but his contract is for Black America, which includes black women. So to me, that doesn't make any sense. And then when he said, look, you can contribute to my contract, write it up. We'll have conversation about it. We'll include it. They were like, well, no, you created this contract. You should do it yourself. X, Y, and Z. I mean,
I will tell you, we have to wrap the show. We're way over, but I just want to say, Cube, I hear what you're saying, but I just want you to know, as black women, how we would feel with, there's no mention specifically of black women in the contract with Black America. They do have to
stand on top of that. I just told you can write that up if you
we're not out here jumping on calls.
We all black, so we all.
We're not meeting up with Jared Kushner and Donald Trump about this. You are. So you can't say, well, if you don't like it, add to it. You're out here. You took that job. You took that position to lead this. So don't say you.
I'll write up the black woman's part of the contract for you.
Yeah,
how many words do y'all want it to be? The thing is, you guys are the experts, but here we go again. You just want to talk. Nobody want to help me. Just want to talk. But y'all the experts on black women, so why won't y'all help me? See, that's the problem.
I can tell you why. You just let me
that doesn't make any sense. If you want to be included into the contract specifically, then you need to give some input and be collaborative with this whole engagement.
Is this the Lisa Ray? That's the actress. The
Lisa Ray.
Is that the Lisa Ray? That's the actress that's criticizing him.
Well, she said that, hey, I seen you down with Trump, and he never said that he was down with Trump. He just said that, the Republican Party came to him and said they were interested.
It's propaganda. That's basically propaganda. Basically, what Ice Cube did, who's a good brother, conscientious brother, he did something that other black women and black men were not doing. He came up with some type of strategy or a plan for Black America. And you have to give him credit for that instead of knocking the brother down because your gender was not included, which I doubt. The agenda for Black America that he had was for Black America regarding of your gender. And anytime a black man steps up and do something, man, they always get these so-called house Negroes and negresses to attack either a strong black man or a strong black woman that's not basically upholding the status quo.
That show is on Fox Soul, right?
Pardon me?
The show that Lisa Ray and her crew is on Fox Soul. So you know what Fox Soul is?
No, I don't.
That's the Fox network.
Okay.
Segment.
The Fox network basically has a reputation of being racist. That network basically has a lot of white talk show hosts that basically condemn black activism, pro-black activism. So it shocks me. What doesn't shock me if they had that show on that particular network.
Yeah, I was surprised when I saw that show on YouTube. I was like, wow, Fox has got a black contributed type of channel, with all different types of black celebrities.
Well, that's what this is what this whole thing about with the Biden Harris administration. They're putting a black woman in there to basically lull black people to sleep, to pull the wool over their eyes, and to dupe them. Just because you have a black woman who is married to a white man, even her policies already is racist. She's basically because her husband happened to be Jewish, and she was at some Jewish conference telling people that we stand by you, against the Palestinians, who happened is basically a Muslim country. So this woman's not going to be fair and objective, and that white man that she married to is going to have a lot more control over her. In fact, I understand that her husband has been offered a position in some type of role in the Biden-Harris administration.
Wow. So everybody's winning in this election, huh?
Everybody's winning except for black people. And that's why black people have to wake up. I mean, you're all excited, about this man. And, it's almost like when when emancipation came around and slavery was over. Some of you want to be back on the plantation, and some of you are still back on the plantation. Okay, you're free. You don't have to buy into Europeanized, American Europeanized ideologies and norms and values. Whatever white people do, y'all think is the thing to do. You have your own culture, which you have not really discovered, originating from Africa. With high norms and values they have over there. Their problem is that the leaders over there are basically being manipulated by American or Western interests to manipulate and steal from them and to force their nasty norms and values on people. So, and it's happening right here in America. These folks in America don't know where they're from. They have to be African American. Look at them. They just run around, find whatever the white people say or do. They think that's the norm.
Well, I mean, we only have like Ancestry.com and these other platforms that kind of connect us with our ancestors and our culture. So
no, there's some TV programs on. If you don't have cable or don't desire to have cable like me, because I'm not making a white man rich by getting cable. I get Fire Stick, and there's other avenues that you can get to basically see other channels. There's some black channels out there that's dealing with Africa. PBS is a non-cable network that's public service that offers a lot of insight on people of color and the contribution they have made to society, period, over a period of time. And so black people have to learn who they are, develop their own communities, invest in their communities, support leaders that they pick and not what the white man picked, like they supported Kamala Harris, who did not get a lot of black votes when she ran for the presidency. Black people, man, she only got 4% of the vote. So the situation is that tells you that black people don't want her in there, but it's white people that put her in there to try to pull the wool over black people's eyes to vote for them. So these are the tricks that they play. They pick our leaders and say, oh, this is a good man. You follow him, just like in slavery, when he had the old Negro preacher that went out and tried to calm the field Negroes down and tell all the field Negro, oh, don't get mad at the master. He's good to us and that type of same game.
So, the city was a little crowded this weekend. We had some special guests in the city. The Proud Boys.
Yale Anti-Defamation League says the Proud Boys is a hate group.
We would describe them as a violent, nationalist, Islamophobic, transphobic, misogynist, anti-Semitic group.
The Proud Boys are now selling T-shirts online celebrating the president's words. Their chairman posted on a conservative social media platform, "Standing by, sir. Proud Boys. I will stand down, sir."
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by.
I emailed the local chapter and someone replied, apparently sarcastically, "We are a breakfast cereal awareness group. We hope that clears the air. No Zoom meet needed."
That could include actions at the polls?
I think it could include actions at the polls.
Cassie Miller is with the Southern Poverty Law Center.
And that could result in voter intimidation and harassment and in voter suppression.
The experts at both the ADL and the Southern Poverty Law Center say there is no equivalence between Antifa and the Proud Boys. They say Antifa is a philosophy and a loose collection of individuals. The Proud Boys, they say, is an organized group with a history of violence. Bruce LaShan, WUSA 9.
I seen some of them. They was in my neighborhood, and shocked to see black people walking around in the neighborhoods as they drove by and stuff. Someone was even waving. My wife was telling me about it. Then another neighbor seen them downtown just taking over. Man, they actually went to Black Lives Matter and tore down some of the so-called Black Lives Matters work there, some of the artistic work and some of the signage and that thing, this anti-Trump type of slogans and artwork that was done there. I mean, Trump even on his way to or from the golf course that particular day came out and drove through the large crowd. I mean, they were here deep. Some of them got arrested. Someone actually bought some arms. DC Metropolitan Police on the job arrested a few of them. Trump probably was hoping for conflict, but no conflict happened. But it just tells you that this country is still divided. It's still a country for white people, where black people have to get in line and in order and march to their orders, their norms, their values, their culture, in order to, as they say, be able to survive. And that's not necessarily what you have to do to make it in this country.
So what do you think Biden's going to do? Like
Biden is
first for black folks. What do you think he's going to do?
Well, first for black folks, he's not going to do anything. Like I told you, the system's already set for white folks. Biden is going to be a nicer version of Trump. He's going to basically have the same policies that they've always had, except he's going to do it nicer. And black people are going to be so happy because they got a white man in there that smiles at them, and got a white folks Negro vice president, Kamala Harris, in office, but the policies are not going to help you. It's not going to help you. So you have to go out and get it your own. You have to get educated. You have to train your kids properly, not to kill each other with guns, how to respect their elders, hold a job, get a Social Security check and work, take your money, invest in a business or a trade if you don't want to go to college, okay, to get an astronomical amount of bills. Okay.
Yeah, I heard about that, man. I was listening to Dr. Boyce Watkins, and he said that one of the things that Joe Biden can probably do, I guess within his first, year, he could, remove some of the student loan debt.
If Biden really wanted to do something specifically for Black people, something better would be to say, if you're Black, you can go write off your student loans in a bankruptcy. If you're Black, then all your student loans are forgiven, right? Black specific. It must be for Native Blacks, not for people of color, not for minorities, not for non-whites, specifically for the Native Blacks who built this country with our labor and did not get compensated for it. We deserve specific attention.
Prior to the 70s, where Black people were working in industry, they were buying homes. These are Black people who never went to college, and Black people own homes, and the Black community was intact. They had a higher ratio of fathers in the home raising their kids and that type of thing. However, when I went to school back in the 70s to college, you had the BEOG grants and all type of loans available for Black people to go to college. But it was a trick behind that. The trick was that it's like slavery. You would be economically enslaved to the system, and you would not be guaranteed a job. And what happened, they took away all the vocational trainings. When I was in high school, you had a lot of white boys going and learning trades like carpentry, basically plumbing, electricity, and they own their own businesses, and they employed themselves. What happened is that white folks got hip to all of this stuff and did away with the trade schools. Here in the District of Columbia, I remember Armstrong, the vocational training program at Armstrong in Northwest during the time where the city was Chocolate City. But what happened is that with the white influence of money for re-election for the Black so-called politicians, they got rid of these training programs. They got rid of the barbering programs. They got rid of the plumbing programs. They got rid of the electric programs, the plumbing programs, the beautician programs, and people that couldn't afford to go to college or couldn't go to college were out of any type of training, and therefore they took away their means to acquire wealth.
Mm. So what do you see about the whole rise in going to a HBCU now?
Well, the HBC thing, man, is basically something that is popular because of good brother Chadwick Boseman coming up with Black Panther. That was something that was very positive for Black people, having a superhero. Then you got Kamala Harris now, vice president. I mean, but coming out of a Black historic university. There's other Black people coming from other university, whether it's Bowie State or the University of District of Columbia.
That's right. You went to Howard, right?
I went to Howard, and I also went to UDC too for my master's. And I started off at a HB Historic Black University at John C. Smith before I went to Marsh University and graduated there. Then went to Howard for grad school. But the thing is about these Black universities. The thing about it is some of them are just caught up in the system, man. Most of these land grant institutions are controlled by white folks that sit on the board of directors and have gotten away from good educators like Francis Cress Wells, the Black sociologist at Howard, whom basically was blackballed, and any other Black professional that basically speaks out. If you look at these professors they gotten right now, man, they're basically integrationists who basically are lackeys of the American political system with no loyalty to uplifting Black people, man. So, and that's because they have these white folks on the board of directors for these universities. So, you have these Black professionals now at these historic Black universities that have no loyalty to uplifting their community. They're basically integrationists that have bought into a system to foster white supremacy. And they may, gotten away from the traditional pull ourselves up by the bootstraps and that type of thing. And the Francis Cress Wells theories and stuff regarding how racist they are. So being from a historic Black university does not necessarily mean that you're going to do well in that type of thing, particularly if you're a land grant university and you have to depend on federal funding from white folks.